Oslo and the Utøya shootings were crimes against humanity. In a video called European Survival versus Thatcherism, a warning from history, I asked BNP members and EDL members to choose between Thatcherite extreme ultra-conservatism and a European moderate nationalism and social democracy, which to some extent, in terms of moderate European nationalism, that Ian Stewart Donaldson, the leader of the neo-Nazi band, skinhead band Screwdriver, said that he believed in. Now, here it comes to the stark debate, because on many occasions the BNP have said they are not National Socialists, and on this I would agree with them. They are not National Socialists, they are much worse. They're ultra-conservatives, right? Andrew Breivik said that he was an ultra-conservative and a Freemason, and the two ideologies, Freemasonry and ultra-conservatism, are linked. The pre-1945 establishment of the Rhodes and Milner group, who started the war in South Africa, which has ultimately led to a genocide against the Boers because of their support, their ideology, fostering the ideology of Margaret Thatcher, who put the ANC into power in South Africa for cheap mining contracts and to the benefit of her cronies and friends and mercenary groups in South Africa, who she then betrayed. The Sandline case is another case in which Margaret Thatcher and her son came up with the idea of invading a small West African country using Sandline mercenaries under Tim Spicer, and then when Tim Spicer asked for a helicopter and more money to get the operation underway, they then betrayed them. Thatcher and her son betrayed them and told Mugabe's intelligence organisation, and then they were then put into a prison in the country in which they were going to take over. All these groups of Thatcherites, ultra-conservatives and Freemasons have tried to infiltrate the various right-wing groups. It started with the National Front, of which they switched the National Front from being pro-European to anti-European. They switched the National Front from being pro-working class to pro-upper class. They've tried to do the same thing with the BNP and the EDL, and they've been successful. They betrayed people just like they did with Tim Spicer, who they left to rot with other former SAS men to die in an African prison, right? Because these people threaten people's families, they kill people's families, as was shown in Oslo. This is no longer people trying to win at the ballot box, but they're trying to use the bomb and the bullet and the Armalite to kill innocent social democratic children and women in Utøya. So my point of view is that I am a European social democrat from the Thilo Sarrazin school of thought, that we have to stop immigration or reverse it in some way, or have at least a multicultural society which only has an immigration of 2 to 4%. And we have to have a social democratic system which works. So there you might think I'm a multiculturalist. I am not a multiculturalist. I sometimes struggle on this issue because I want a balance of liberty and equality, and I don't want to be a hypocrite to deny people because of their race or religion that. But the people who are jihadists, who are sponsored by the Bin Laden crime family and Saudi crime family, who Margaret Thatcher invited into Britain to do construction work in London under the Leyden Corporation. Everybody thought that they were Dutch when they were actually jihadist fundamentalist Arabs and feudalistic crime families, much more powerful than Margaret Thatcher and her Freemason and New World Order buddies in Exxon said, and the Bin Ladens obviously went on to do 9/11 and many other atrocities in Kenya and Africa, and the Madrid bombings and 7/7, of course. But as I told you, I warned you on that the BNP and EDL vid that these people are terrorists. They radicalised Andrej Breivik to do the attack in Oslo, and they may have provided him with training and supplies to do it. Andrej Breivik also said that there was, although it seems unlikely now, 2 more cells. Like the unlikelihood of something being a fact in terms of terrorism is often conversely an indication that it could actually be a fact, because terrorist cells by their nature are designed to be low level and unseen, you know. So the question is, given all these facts and also speculations on the different roles that the far right may have had to play in Andrej Breivik's radicalisation by the media, and the fact that much of ultra-conservatism is inspired by Thatcherism, and Thatcherites do infiltrate the BNP. They have infiltrated the BNP. The leadership of the BNP fucking despise their members, right? Because they are not National Socialists, all right. Although I don't have much in common with a National Socialist, I should warn you that you are being fooled, that you are being brought over into an ideology which is treasonous and hateful to your own people. Alright? These people enjoy doing evil, as Andrej Breivik showed. He killed his own people. He didn't kill jihadists. Alright? Jihadists are very easy to find because they self-identify themselves. We've killed over 52,000 of them because their radicalisation videos show who they are on the internet, and also they go to places such as Afghanistan to wage wars. They self-identify. If Andrej Breivik and his organisation, Thatcherites who supported that organisation, wanted to find jihadists to kill, there is plenty around in Europe openly protesting hatred for British soldiers on the streets of Birmingham and London and calling for the death of British soldiers. He didn't have to look far, you know. At present, almost 10% of our population is going to be Muslim, or will be by 2050. So the debate about immigration has to be made. But can you have a debate with people who want to kill you and they're not just using the ballot box? So you're stuck between 2 different factions, Thatcherites and jihadists who are supporting radicalisation attempts in both their camps. The jihadists sponsored by Saudi and Bin Laden billionaire crime families, and the Thatcherites supported by Exxon and other companies such as ultra-conservative companies such as that, who are radicalising people into Freemasonry and ultra-conservative terrorism on a cell structure, thus copying their enemies, which leaves us all in the middle. Nationalists, moderate nationalists, who are for the European Union or their own countries or England, and social democrats. So social democrats, nationalists and Jewish people as well, all have to unite under the assumption or the rational opinion that we are facing enemies on both sides. And let's not forget Marxist multiculturalists who want to shut down the whole debate completely and leave us with no option but demographic suicide in Europe, because they are self-loathing people who hate Europeans and the values of European social democracy. So stay tuned for part 2.